Hey everybody, HMV here, playing more Kerbal Space Program, and we are at Eeloo. And if anybody is curious as to why you should set up your maneuvers to Eeloo in order to get there during the windows, as opposed to just burning out there and then waiting a couple orbits for it to come around. When I left you last episode, it was year 22. Now it's year 67, and all that's happened in the intervening time is we've gotten Jeb to Eeloo. He is, though, in Eeloo Sphere of Influence, coming on down. We have a maneuver node. Eeloo is way over there. We're going to aim ourselves at that maneuver node, except for we are in time warp to keep the periapsis from getting too far down. Yeah, I mean, look at my periapsis. It's gone up to 30 in the amount of time that we flipped this thing around. But anyway, we're coming down here. I am streaming this on Twitch, but it is very early in the morning, and I don't expect anybody to come on and watch. So far, my expectations have been met. But here comes Eeloo, very slowly. I'm going to try to put this entire Eeloo trip into one episode. In order to, sorry about that, I'm like watching everything happen here. Because I'm gonna be spending a decent amount of time getting to Jool from here, because we're just way so far away from the sun. And I would like to get this all done in this one episode, and then that way I can do Jool kind of fresh once I've gotten there. I can time warp there outside of the things. Hello, person watching. I'm at Eeloo. Whoever you are. Okay, 15 by 70. That looks good. Looks good to me. Let's get rid of this. Eeloo is, I think, bigger than Dres. I don't know that for a fact. If it is, let me find that out here. Dres is 430, Eeloo is 620, yes. So in order to be comfortable, I'm going to have to do something similar to what I did on Dres. The nice thing is I believe I have more fuel now than I did at Dres. I do. I've got 1,500 meters per second, and it takes like 6 something to land. So we should be able to land this guy with no trouble, and then assuming we're wrong about our landing spot, which I'm sure we will be, we should be able to take care of that as well. Let's get this guy out of time warp. Let's fill up the tanks in both of these guys, and that's all 3 tanks, unlike last time when I accidentally forgot to fill up some tanks. Oh, I hate it when I do that. I'm used to I'm used to mods that pump my fuel for me, and they don't require me to keep the windows up on the screen as we're going. They also run a lot faster than this, my fuel pumping mods, but what are you going to do? But we're going to scan for ore. We're gonna find a nice spot to land this guy. We're going to get him down and back up, and then it's off to Jool to complete the grand tour. And the main reason I went to Eeloo before going to Jool is mostly just to theatrics, I guess. I want to do Jool last, so that it's so that I'm not finishing off on boring old Eeloo. No offense, Eeloo. And we get to see, probably the last thing we'll do is Tylo. Let's go ahead and undock this guy. Let's control from this docking port. Let's probably right about here is when we want to do this. Go up about 45 degrees. Keep going, and right about like that would be perfect. Let's close the alarm. Let's go ahead and turn the computer on. Aim at the alarm. Turn the HUD off. We don't need that. And should probably turn our engines on. There we go, and we should go now. Okay, this is the scary and dangerous part of the orbit where we are on a collision course with the planet. If this was a real space program, they would probably take precautions to not be on this sort of orbit in case the engines died or something bad happened to the engines, a la Apollo 13. The whole reason Apollo 13 was saved is because they had planned for anything to go wrong, and that they would have a trajectory back towards the Earth for the most part. But we're curveballs, we're not humans, we don't do that kind of thing. Ain't nobody got time for safety. I fully expect our orbit is too small. To effectively scan, but the only way that I know of to find that out other than looking up in a wiki is to try. So let's go ahead and try here and see what it tells me. We need to be between 25 and 1,000. So let's go prograde. Our apoapsis is already actually at 50, so let's just go to our apoapsis. Burn this up. Nice way to do multiple probes. What do you mean? They were actually the other probe that you see, if you missed it, is actually a mothership. It's an ISRU ship with Jeb at the controls. But yes, sending probes all docked together. I do that many times. I'm going to take a chance at your name. Inslaveri? Inslaviri. I'm bad at names. I try. Welcome to the channel, though. I'm close. That's all I can hope for, really, when it comes down to it. Okay, before I run these engines, I got to close this scanner because he blocks the engine flow. I could have built the ship backwards, but then the docking port would have been facing the wrong way, and as the root part of the vessel, it would have been really annoying to have that thing be backwards. I know that because during testing, I constantly had that thing be backwards. There's a ship flying by us. If you've never watched before, okay, let's make sure this is the biggest planet we've ever scanned. So hopefully we have enough electric charge. We should have plenty of electric charge. Oh, we do. If you haven't been watching this before, this is the penultimate stop in a grand tour. Next up is Jewel. Eeloo has a lot of places, although we've seen that before. Looks like this crater is garbage for scanning or for ore, but everything else looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and see if we can find a nice spot up in the 90 percentile here. Okay, there's a massive drop as soon as we get to 70%, so somewhere around here. And I think I'm just going to try to land in some big fat area and hope that that means that there's ore right there. And we want to do that in the sun. So let's go back to our mothership here. You do that actually in map mode. You don't do that in regular mode. Okay. Let's get this back up. Now we want to land in this big swath here, and we want to do it in the sun. So let's plan to slow down right here, to come down in the bright. Speaking of the bright, let me turn the actual bright down a little bit. Yeah, we want to do it right here. But we want that one right here is over here. So let's turn on the trajectories mod. And that's telling us we're actually going to be landing here. But if we go forward in orbit, now we're going to be landing here, which is pretty darn good, actually. If we go forward another orbit, we're landing here. And what we can do here is then move this maneuver node a little bit forward. Probably a little bit retrograde, although, nah. Maybe even a little bit prograde. If you don't know this trick, if you drag the orbit around in this mode where you can go plus and minus orbits, your maneuver node stays on the same orbit. Yeah, because we're getting farther away, we're going to need to slow down less. There we go. That's nice, right in the middle of that fat part. Okay. This is a 2-hour time warp at 50 times. I think we're going to jump back to the Space Center. And I'm not going to be streaming for very long today. I'm just going to do the Eeloo part and then get back up into orbit and plan a trajectory to Joule. Once I'm done with that, I'm leaving because it's probably going to be a long time of time warping before we get there. And I should not have canceled that alarm. But we can just go to the Grand Tour ship. Because time warping to Joule could take multiple minutes, and I don't want to stream that. Basically is the reasoning here. Let's go ahead and aim retrograde. I think we'll just do that. It's an 11-second or 11 meter per second burn. Really doesn't matter exactly when we do it. Don't even need the maneuver node really. Come on. There we go. Burn down right to there. That should be perfect. And then right around here-ish is where we slow down to 0 to land right there. Let's do it right about here. That looks like it might be a little valley. Let's go ahead and shoot for that. Okay, 621 meters per second, 45-second burn. It's about half of our fuel. Should be fun. Let's go ahead and name it that. I'm going to turn the ambient light up a little bit. Eeloo is nice and white for us, but it's also very far from the sun. I think I just saw our satellite fly by. We're warping it 10 times at least. Here's where I remember to hit F5. Hopefully it's not too late. Shouldn't be. We can probably just aim retrograde here. The landing gear's down. You'll notice I'm one piece of landing gear short. That's because I had a little incident at Duna wherein I lost that piece of landing gear. Okay. Just going to turn off the assisted aim, and we're going to hit the gas when it tells me to. And then I'm going to kill this maneuver node, and we're going to let this thing tell me what's going on here. As long as the impact time is higher than the estimated burn time, we're not going to die immediately. I'm actually going to turn on nav HUD because it's easier to keep an eye on it on the screen where I'm watching for the ground and everything as well. We're already in surface mode. We're already at 100 meters per second, so I'm really not that scared about anything. This looks like flat enough area. Let's go ahead and get that like that. Let's aim upward. Turn off the nav HUD now. Watching these numbers here. Estimated burn is 3 seconds and impact is 10 seconds. This actually doesn't look as flat as I was hoping it would be. Ride a plume down here. Like we landed more or less okay. Now let's take this thing that should have landed on its own, but I'm afraid it didn't have enough fuel to land and get back up. Let's run an analysis. 5.56. That's probably not the best, but it's actually pretty darn good. It's pretty darn good. I think it's as good as we're gonna hope to get, really. We actually got really lucky. We could have landed here. I was actually thinking about landing here. I'm glad I landed here. Okay, let's go ahead and let's see. Where's the sun? I don't think the sun's actually going to help us all that much now, but let's go ahead and give it a try. There we go. Now let's open all of our solar panels using the All Y'all mod. One of my favorite mods, mostly because I wrote it. Go ahead and start the surface loader here. And let's start making liquid fuel and oxidizer. And we can handle the electronic load, which is always nice. We, however, don't seem to be getting very much of anything. Yeah, we're not quite up to efficiency yet. Okay, now we're seeing numbers. Yeah, one trick while you're doing ISRU, if you run time at least like 100 times or 1,000 times, your electric charge stops going down. It's kind of a cheat, but I really don't care enough to be worried about it. Sorry if you are subject to any epileptic seizures or anything. I'm going to fill up the ore tanks too. No sense being wasteful. Got a TWR of 2.45, so we'll be able to get back into orbit no problem. Jeb's been on the surface of Eeloo for about a half a year now. Okay, we are full up on everything. Let's go ahead and retract these drills. And stop this. Retract all these things so Jeb doesn't break them. And Jeb can get back in the ship and hit F5 like he should. Then go EVA again. And we're going to head over here a little bit, far enough away that we shouldn't knock the flag down. Eeloo. I want to hit tab to make that work. Almost done. Looks like Jeb's going to have to light the flag up for the picture. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Whoa! That was not what I expected to happen. Let's try that again, once more with feeling. We're going to turn his suit light on. I was hitting G. Would suck if after all this, Jeb ran out of EVA propellant on Eeloo. There we go. Now let's drop a named quick save. Just in case we have problems. And we want to take off to the right. We're all full of fuel, including this guy. We actually didn't need him to have fuel in him, but he's holding some for the mothership now, and 3, 2, 1, launch. I'm going to use the nav HUD to make things a little bit easier for myself here. Also, I'm going to burn up until my apoapsis is up around 30. And then we're good. It's a lot easier than Drez was. And it was much easier than Eve was. Basically, this is the first time things have gone actually according to plan on this mission. Leave it to Eeloo to be the boring one that nothing goes wrong during, but what are you going to do? In Slavery, you just landed on Moon and Minmus for the first time. Very well done. Yeah. The first time I played, this was almost 3 years ago now. It was 2013. It was summer of 2013. The very first time I played the demo, and before I would buy the game, I had to be able to land on Moon. And return to Kerbin, kind of Apollo mission. And I spent an entire weekend doing that. And as soon as I got it, I went out and bought the game. In Slavery, oh, I get it. I thought you were like Scandinavian, and that was actually your last name. Okay, 30 kilometers. And we can't time warp until we get up to 4 kilometers here, so we'll be there. There we are. I hate the time warp limits in this game. Oh, it's a Nine Inch Nails song. I was not really into Nine Inch Nails. I own one of their albums. I think I got one for free, believe it or not, from Google at one point. But not a huge fan of Nine Inch Nails. Nothing wrong with them per se, just not my kind of music. Oh, look, there's my satellite. Okay, we are 50 seconds from apoapsis, as reads up here. Basically, when I get to this apoapsis, I'm going to burn the bejesus out of my ship and get our periapsis up to the point where we won't die. $30 by 30. I want everything above 30. Okay, sweet. And we have plenty of fuel. My goal here, I don't know what I'm going to do when we get to Jewel. But obviously we need to land on all 5 moons. The two plans are, let me turn trajectories off because that gets confusing. The two plans when we get to Moon, or when we get to Jewel, I should say, are do we go right to the ships that I have already waiting there that are destined to go to. Look how close we're going to be. I think we can try to meet him right away. Although if we slow down, then we get worse and worse and worse. Okay, we're coming around this way. He's coming around this way. So when we go down this way, we're going to want to turn left. We're going to want to hang a sharp left. Something along those lines, and being way off is probably a good thing. Way off on our apoapsis. I hate doing these wide turns here. Okay, we'll just do that and we'll fix it later. It's hard to do a 90-degree turn with a maneuver node system in this game. These are all stock parts, yes. The way I play the game, I like to play with all stock parts that work in stock ways, and then with a ton of mods that help me use those parts in better ways than the stock game makes me. So in theory, you could take my ships and fly them yourself, as long as you don't have any mods that affect stock. That is kind of my mantra, especially for streaming and for putting stuff on YouTube. Sometimes I'll use popular mods, like I've used extraplanetary launch pads, and I should probably close my scanner here before I burn. That would be bad. But when I use those KER and visual only mods, yeah, I like a lot of helper mods, like Nav HUD here that puts me in a big nav ball that's like a HUD. I like what else do I got? Better burn time, fantastic mod. I don't even know what else I'm using. Kerbal Alarm Clock, that's a critical one. I won't leave Kerbin Sphere of Influence without Kerbal Alarm Clock. The gravity turn mod is nice for launching the same ship over and over again. The transfer window planner is fantastic for going interplanetary. Distant object enhancement is really cool as well. Like you can see, if you look here, let me finish this burn so I'm looking at it. But if you see up here, you can actually see all the planets orbiting the sun, which is really cool. You can actually like see Eve, seeing it even like you hover over it and it says, oh, that's Moho. There's Kerbin over here. That's Jewel. There's Duna. Oh, and we just lost the stream. Hopefully it'll come back very quickly. Yeah, Chatterer. I love Chatterer for every single bit of everything except one thing. It is terrible, horrible, awful to record audio and be talking to people on your channel and have the Kerbals constantly coming up and talking to you and telling you things and beeping and all that. Yeah, Chatterer is the absolute best mod that I will never ever install because of the fact that it makes it so hard to run a channel. Oh, the BRB screen? Yeah, you could actually watch me make that ship and fly it. I did it about 2 years ago. I called it the Astroglider. I won't spoil the ending, but it did fly. That picture you see is it actually flying in the air. It's not flyable anymore. It was flyable back before 0.1, or 1.0, I should say. The old aerodynamics was very rudimentary, and you could get away with a lot of stuff you can't get away with anymore. But yeah, it totally flew. But yeah, if you go to YouTube and you do a search for Astroglider, all one word, or there might have been a hyphen in there. The video is literally exactly an hour long, and let's see. So we are behind it, and we are going above it. So we should actually burn down, so our periapsis is lower. How much fuel do we got? Oh, we got plenty. Oh, geez, we're burning retroactive to our target. Oh, I hate that. I was in target mode, not orbit mode. Okay, we actually have to pass this before we know what's going on here. Okay. Getting a little worried that my periapsis is getting too low. Where's my periapsis? It's 5 kilometers. That's too low. Let's burn radially out. This is horribly inefficient. Don't try this at home. I'm burning radially to get my apoapsis right here. Okay. Now our periapsis is at 12, which is a more reasonable thing. And I'm just going to cheat. Well, not cheat, but I'm getting sick of doing this. We're going to be 17 kilometers away. We'll be 2 kilometers away on orbit 17. Let's just add that alarm. Let's hit F5. Let's head back to the Space Center. And let's time warp for a day, almost 2 days. We've been doing this for 68 years and 220 days. I think Jeb can wait 2 days to get back to his scanner. And I did it again. I didn't jump to the ship. It's that transfer window planner window. I think he's fixed. I just haven't updated it yet. Okay, we are 2.9 kilometers away. We are heading towards the ship. There's our direction vector. Victor. Oh, I was actually aimed in the perfectly correct direction. I keep thinking this is the front of the ship, but this is the front of the ship. So if I burn like this, that'll push our direction vector towards the ship, which is key here. Now we aim like this. We are heading towards our target at 7 meters per second. The better burn time mod tells me we will be 1.1 kilometers away, which is garbage. And that's actually making it worse. So let's go ahead and turn this way. Orbital mechanics is hard. 1.3, 1.2, 1.1. Okay, we hit a sweet spot here. Yeah, nav HUD is fantastic. I absolutely love it. It works better when you're in locked mode. I'm not in locked mode. When I get closer to docking. Okay, half a kilometer here away in 12 minutes. So let's go ahead and fast forward here. Where's Eeloo? There's Eeloo. We're dancing around each other here. Okay, 97 seconds. I think we can eschew all pageantry here. Here's where it's nice because we're in locked mode. So now where we aim is exactly what we're looking at. So now I can burn like this. Now we're 100 meters away in 100 seconds. Okay, now we're going to aim retrograde here. Sorry if you start to vomit. We're even coming in on the correct side. This is nice. Okay, let's go ahead and stop here. Let's burn my engines very slowly. And okay, now we're going to control from here, aim him at the target. We have to do the actual docking with the main ship, because even though I put Werner engines on this guy, so he has full control, both forward, backward, and everything, I didn't put him on with 4x symmetry. That was a mistake. There should be one here, and there should be one here. So I can't translate this guy fully. And so it's a lot easier to do this on the mothership. And we're just going to hook right here. We're going to control from here. We're going to set this guy as our target. Right on this docking port. We're going to turn the nav HUD up a little bit so you can actually see the ship. Our docking port is already, or this is on the nav HUD here. This plus, oh, I'm so used to being in locked mode, I didn't think I wouldn't be. This plus is the orientation of the docking port. It is currently directly in the direction of the ship because he's aimed at us, but it doesn't have to be. Because I aimed at us, though, it's going to be a lot easier to get this done. Okay. Need to be going towards them a little bit so I can see my prograde vector. There it is. Now I'm going to turn my Werners on, and I'm going to move this thing over here with a couple jets of air. This guy isn't very well centered for this kind of thing. He wasn't really designed to be doing these kind of maneuvers. The Werners were more of an afterthought than anything else, and I'm glad I had that afterthought because it basically is making all these missions possible. Okay, I'm going to thrust forward to about 1 meter per second. We don't want to go too fast. At this rate, we're going to be there in 30 seconds. And what I'm doing here is I'm just getting all these things lined up. Now, they wander away from each other for various reasons, one of them being a bug in the game right now that causes your orbit to wander from where it should be. I talked to the guy who's working on that bug, and he says that he thinks he's got it, but who knows. Okay, now I'm going to slow down. I have front-facing Werners just for that reason. Okay, we're wandering a little bit, but a little bit of wandering is not a big deal. And we are docked. And everybody's together like a happy family. And we're ready to go to Jewel. Whew. Okay, let's set Jewel as our target. If we want to exit right now, which we probably don't, but I might end up doing it anyway, because we're already 70 years into this mission. I just realized I don't want to go forward. I want to go backwards. So I want to be ejecting backwards relative to Eeloo from the sun. So we're going backwards on his orbit. And look at that. We've already got a near Jewel encounter, and I might just take it. I might just. What if we do this. I'm going to use precise node here to go back in time a little bit. Or boom, Joule encounter. We're taking it. We're taking it, and we're doing it, and that's all she wrote. I'll fix the rest of it with a mid-course correction. This burn is 266 meters per second, ridiculously small compared to the burns I've been doing with this horrible behemoth of a ship up until now. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not phantom torque. It's actually an acceleration. If you get into orbit of Kerbin, like an 80-kilometer orbit, 90-kilometer orbit, somewhere around there, and you just go into the map mode and watch your periapsis and your apoapsis, they will just slowly go down. And presumably, if you let it sit there long enough, probably multiple orbits, and nobody's going to do that because it's hours and hours and hours, you could actually just re-enter the atmosphere because your apoapsis and periapsis keep going down to the point where you will do that. And the farther away you are, the worse it is. And the faster you're going, I think the worse it is. So when I was coming into Eeloo, my apoapsis or my periapsis was changing by like a kilometer a second. It was crazy. Okay, this is a 55-second burn. I am moderately sure that we have probably roughly equal mass on both sides. I think I'm going to actually pump a little bit of fuel into this guy to kind of balance these two sides. We are 5 seconds from our burn. As soon as the burn starts, I'm gonna just do it. I'm not gonna wait for this thing to finish. Oh! I forgot to turn the engines off. That is what's called bad. Okay. I'm going to turn the HUD off, because while it's really cool, it does cause a lot of lines on the screen that I might not want. It's looking like the reaction wheels, even though we're slightly off-center with all the fuel here and no fuel here, is still fine. Okay, so this is what we care about. We care that our orbit does something like this. So I'm watching the nav ball. I'm keeping myself roughly where this maneuver node is, and I'm waiting for my orbit to pop out. There it is. And I have a feeling that we actually have an encounter with Joule, but it's just not showing it to me. So I'm going to do a mid-course correction here to bring us down into Joule. That'll do it. And we're going to focus on Joule. The main important thing is we just got to get this thing down near where we want to be. And I think a little bit of radial or prograde and retrograde. Looks like retrograde will do it. Oh, no, prograde will do it. And a little bit north. A little bit more prograde. Okay, we're getting close to Joule here. A little bit more north. Can't run by ones anymore. That's obviously too close to Joule. Ideally, I would like to come in and smack into Tylo and get a gravity assist off him. Joule's it. Well, I mean, the 5 moons of Joule are it. Once I get to Joule, though, things are going to get ideally a lot easier. Because, let's see, am I coming in the right direction? Yes, I am. This is my exit from Joule. I want to come in this way because this is the direction all the planets are moving. You can, if you're curious and you want to see everything I did up until this point, this is all available on YouTube. The link to my YouTube page is in the description of everything here. So there's a connection with Tylo's orbit. In theory now, we set Tylo as a target, and we get kind of lucky. We're going to have to do things very... Yeah, see, it's not showing me, probably because I'm still in Eeloo sphere of influence. But I think this is where we're going to stop anyway, because this burn is 3 years from now. So I'm actually going to stop for the day. I have been up all night and I would like to go to bed. I wanted to get this done so that I could do the Jewel thing in kind of one big long session later, possibly Sunday night, but I don't know yet. My weekend is kind of busy at the moment. I'm helping a friend move. So, but that's it. I'm actually done. I'm taking off after this. Thank you, In Slavery, for keeping me company this morning. I hope I kept you company as well. I have my little sign off that I'm gonna do. That everyone who watches YouTube knows this, but you don't. I had fun doing this. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I'm HMV, and I will, as always, talk at you later.